Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. It is Will here once again for another fight card prediction. And we're going to be breaking down I think, the best cards of 2018, with one of the best fights of 2018 as UFC 231 rolls around from the 6th, the Great North, Toronto, one of the nicest places I've ever had the chance to be. I love Toronto. And we've got an unbelievable main event as Max Blessed Holloway looks to defend his UFC Featherweight Championship against one of the most dangerous guys in the entire sport, and Brian T-City Ortega with Joanna and Jacek and Valentina Shevchenko, your co-main event. Unbelievable top part of this card. I think there's actually good fights all the way through the card, so it's a card I'm thoroughly looking forward to watching. Betting was phenomenal. I'm having such a huge year betting wise. I've had some people ask about that. Bet MMA tips. If you just go and put my name in there, you will find me and my record and how well I've been doing this year, which is a big turnaround from last year. I want to say a big shout out to Curtis and Zach, two people who messaged me for information on bets, and they won huge at the weekend. Like I say, if anybody ever wants to talk to me about bets, you can use my email on here, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. On Twitter, my DMs are always open to anybody. I might not get back to you as soon. I might not get back to you as soon as I would like to, because life's a little bit busy at the minute. Run up to Christmas, my daughter and everything. So, but I'm there for any advice that you need. So come ahead and help me. I'll try and help you out with my perspective and things. And hopefully that can help you out. And for predominantly this year, it's been helping a lot of people out, and winning people money. It wasn't my main thing in this, but if people take my picks and do well with it, it's pretty a good feeling to see that people are winning some serious dosh with a little bit of my help, but more of their outlook on fights and so on. So just a shout out to Zach. Shout out to Curtis. Well done. I know there's Marlo who's won some bets with just talking to me in the past, and he's got a good eye for bets as well. And I've got many people, Jean and Choi, who message me every week regarding certain things, and I appreciate you guys getting in touch with me and respecting my opinion at least on some things. So thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the new thumbs up, for all the thumbs up, I should say, and just keep it going if we can. I'm going to get into two things actually, before I get into the fight predictions here. I talked a way back, probably about 6 weeks ago, regarding maybe moving away from YouTube over to Patreon, maybe having some paid content on there. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. My YouTube channel is my baby. I've built it up over nearly 6 years. I don't think I can leave it at that. I've got a lot of support on here, and I don't think I could really do that and move over. So I'm going to stay on YouTube for the predominant future, at least going into 2019. I'm going to keep it on YouTube. So yeah, the other thing I would like your help, or if possible, I don't really talk too much about my life away from this kind of camera here that I do every week with my work and so on. I work with pets. I'm a huge supporter of supporting animals, homeless animals, and getting them shelter, food, accessories that they need, blankets, coats, you name it, through the winter. And we don't have stupid cold winters like you have in America and Canada, but it's still really bad, and it's something that kind of hurts my heart a little bit regarding animals not having homes, and animals in shelter and so on. So this Christmas, my store, which I work in, we look after pets and we sell pets and so on, and I've been there for 9 coming on 10 years. And this December, we do it pretty much every year, but this is a little bit different. We're trying to give pets Christmas dinners at Christmas, or presents at Christmas, by selling, just asking for donations and so on. And I kind of felt, I don't know whether I kind of feel bad asking for your help, but I thought I've got a little bit of it sounds bad to say, but a profile. I've got a few thousand subscribers, And I know there must be some people out there that love animals as much as I do. My dog, who's down there, is never away from my side, who I got from a shelter, amongst many other animals that we support daily through my work and so on. So I'm asking, it's like, if you would like to help me raise some money for homeless animals at Christmas by getting them food, utensils that they may need, jackets, blankets, so on, I would greatly appreciate. Now, like, I'm not saying, can you please do it? Can you help me out? I just think there'll be some people out there. There's people all the time that message me, and I help them with like bets or discussions, and they say, "Can I give you some money, or can I give you can I help you out money wise after they win bets?" And I've always said no to that. But at the weekend there, Curtis, who won a bet, he won a very high 4-figure bet on his picks. He gave me $100, sorry, it was, which comes to about £80. You have no idea how it is for me to give to these animals. Like, all I'm asking for, we're asking in my shop, it's just £1 or $1. It's going to feed a pet over Christmas. It's going to help all the animals in adoption. So if you would like to help me out, give some money to some homeless charities, shelters that may need it, just drop me an email at my bigbilber7mma@gmail.com. You can find that through my page. You can leave a message there. You can come on Twitter, come and speak to me there, and we can talk about it. I'm not pushing you. I just think it's something that it kind of hits hard to my heart a little bit. I feel so bad for those dogs in the shelters and cats and reptiles and other ones that we support, birds, you name it. If you would like to help me by supporting them, you've no idea how much that would mean to me as an animal lover and somebody who just wants to look out for animals and so on. And I know I'm going to be spending some time over Christmas going out, giving dogs, some homeless people some food for their dogs and so on. I'm going to be doing some of that over Christmas. So if you'd like to help out and maybe make a small donation or a donation of any sort, I would greatly, greatly appreciate that, and I would pass on the money to that. I was thinking about setting up a page, but I'm not good with stuff like that. But if you would like to get in touch with me regarding stuff like that, you know where I am, where I'm at. bigbilbar7mma@gmail.com. Twitter's there. My DMs are always open. And if anybody can help, I will muchly appreciate that. And yeah, sorry I'm asking for that. I just thought I'd give it a try and see if we can get any donations in there for the animals. So let's go into the fights. That's what you're all here for. So let's get cracking with these fights. Starting off in the lightweight division, Carlos Diego Ferreira, Jesse Ronson. Jesse Ronson, this is his second stint in the UFC, and I'll be honest, I totally forgot about the fights he had way back in 2013, 2014, I believe it was. And then you look at who he lost to back in the day. It's crazy. Michel Prazeres, Francisco Trinaldo, Kevin Lee, 3 guys who are very, very relevant in MMA today. Trinaldo's just outside that top 15. He's like a top 20 guy. Prazeres is one of the biggest streaks in the sport. And Kevin Lee's fighting in the main event next week against Ali Quinta, who's looking to move into the top 5 of that UFC lightweight division. And lost split decisions to all of them. Very close fights. He got takedowns in those fights. He got takedown against Prazeres, takedown against Kevin Lee. Close fights. And even outside the UFC, fought Alexander Sarnavsky, who's a really good fighter himself, Bellator guy. A guy who's kind of went between kind of welterweight and lightweight. Fought in the TKO promotion, which is on UFC Fight Pass, which I always, when he won the lightweight championship last time out. But he is coming in here on short notice after John McDessie pulled out via injury. I think he's a solid fighter, but I just think this is a bit of a big step up on short notice against Carlos Diego Ferreira, who I think is super, super dangerous in many, many aspects of this sport. Jared Gordon, I tried to fade him against Jared Gordon. I thought Gordon might have a pressure that might break him down a little bit. Showed that he didn't. He went in there and won that fight, I think, pretty convincingly. Anytime you get a stoppage it's pretty convincing. I'd say this, especially in the first round. Before that, he had the win over Aubin Mercier a couple of years back. So the guy's got some real talent, especially on the ground. Jesse Ronson, I'm trying to think how he's going to win this fight, because I think on the feet they're pretty close. Pretty close. I think I do give the edge to Diego Ferreira. I think on the ground, I think we've got a clear advantage for Diego Ferreira, and that's what he's going to look to do, is hopefully try and get that to the ground. But I think Ronson's going to fight tough early. But as the fight goes on, I think that Diego Ferreira comes into this, gets it to the ground, and I think that's where his jiu-jitsu skills will really show. So I'm going to go Carlos Diego Ferreira via submission. I'll go early round number 3. Moving on, Laprise against Diego Lima. It's quite funny, actually. I've had 2 people message me. I'll not mention who they are. And they're asking why Douglas Lima is the underdog to Laprise. True story. This is the true story. And I was like, this is Diego Ferreira. This is his little brother. And he's like, oh, I thought it was Douglas. No, I don't think Douglas Lima would ever be the underdog to Laprise, ever, which I thought was a little funny story. I would actually had 2 people, which was funny. Love this matchup for Laprise. Diego Lima, the guy really doesn't win fights outside the tough house. Solid, scrappy guy. I think his chin can be got at. I think Laprise has got the kind of hands, the kind of punches that could ultimately find the chin of Diego Lima. I mean, to be fair, Lima, he's had some hard fights, but I think I'm surprised that actually UFC kept him around after the loss to Hakeem, and especially Jesse Taylor as well. And he gets stopped in the majority of his fights. Tim Mean stopped him. Li Jingliang stopped him. Yeah, I think that Laprise is just the better fighter with more skills. Lima might fight tough. I think if you're picking Diego Lima, and you're confident in it, that's a big stretch in my opinion. You look at Laprise's losses. The Ross Pearson one's one that kind of sticks out. I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of that. He was 155. Since he's went to 170, he's looked great. Wins over Glover Fando. Get hit hard on that one though. He does leave his chin up there a little bit. Don't think Lima's got the prowess on the feet to really hurt him with it. Brian Camozzi, not UFC caliber. I just don't think Diego Lima is UFC caliber. I really don't. After getting hurt by against Bufondo, realised that look, this guy's fast, he hits hard, explosive, getting to the ground where he was a fish out of water, and got a TKO in the first round. I think at some point he finds the chin of Diego Lima, and I think he knocks him out. So I'm going to go a second round knockout for Laprise. Moving on, this is an interesting bout. Brad Katona, the latest, not the latest tough winner, because we had 2 last week. The one before that, he drops down from featherweight to bantamweight, and he faces Matthew Lopez in this fight here. And I'll be honest, I think the betting line's a little bit off in this, because this is a clear step up an opponent for Brad Katona, who fought out in the regional scene in Canada. He's a guy that I've heard about for a long time. James Lynch put me onto this guy many moons ago on the Part and Shot podcast when he did interviews with him. And James Lynch, by the way, shout out to him. He's got so many interviews and different things for this card, and he'll be out there in Toronto giving you more content. So shout out to James. Much appreciate all the work he does. I watch every interview from the fighters that are on the card. But this is a clear step up from facing Jay Cuccinello, who I think he's a tough guy. I think that's all he really is. He's a tough guy. But when you move up, I don't think Lopez is a massive step up, but it's definitely a step up than what he's faced before. I was surprised that Katona went on and won that additional fight with some of the guys that were on that show. And but I was kind of not surprised. I was a little surprised, but not surprised, because I knew that he was a good, solid fighter with good boxing, just an all around good game. And I think that's could serve him well in his UFC future. Matthew Lopez is the guy I've always been fairly high on. ever since he came to UFC, because I knew the stable where he came from, like Arizona State, Cal State, his wrestling's really good. But there is some signs that have kind of showed, like with his gas tank and his chin, kind of recently, that's kind of scared me a little bit. Coming off 2 losses, 2 stoppages as well, which is not good. So I think he's probably fighting for his job here. I mean, his losses are to good guys as well. Perez is a tough kind of Weasley guy who's usually is hard to fight against, but he knocked him out in the second. Rafael Assunção knocked him out in the third. Rani Yaya choked him out in his first UFC stint. Big fight here for Matthew Lopez. The better boxer is Katona, and I think he will look to kind of box him up a little bit and stop the takedowns, get in the clinch, and just try and beat him up in the clinch a little bit, but don't get taken down. I think if he survives, if he can just stop the fight from going to the ground, I think he's just the more complete guy on the feet with better kind of movement, more variety with his strikes. But Matthew Lopez, I think, will be looking for takedowns here, and that's kind of interesting me a little bit. He's a bigger dog. I was surprised when I seen Matt Lopez. I think it was plus 240. That surprised me a little bit, because I think he's got a path to victory here if he can land takedowns. But it's a big if, because I think Katona's got some talents to him. For me, I think it's a dog or pass situation betting wise. I don't think I'd want to bet Brad Katona at like plus minus 275, minus 300. I think I've seen his lines. And I actually think this fight's going to be relatively close. I think Matthew Lopez is going to fight hard here. In James Lynch's interview, he's been training with guys who are going for 5-round title fights in LFA and so on. So he's had guys ready to go in there and go long. So he's had to get his conditioning better. I'm going to go with I'm going to take a shot on the underdog here. I'm going to take a shot on Matthew Lopez to kind of wrestle his way to a decision. I think that he will take Katona down. I think Katona will spring back to his feet a few times, but I think those will be enough to maybe win him the fight. But I do see it being close. Obviously, in Canada, if the fight's close, you might the home fighter might be a guy that gets the nod in that one. But I fancy taking a shot on Matthew Lopez, and I think the fight's a little bit closer than what I've seen on certain forums and social. I'll take a shot on Matthew Lopez to win via a very close split decision. Moving on, light heavyweight division, Devin Clark, Alexander Rakic. Super looking forward to watching Alexander Rakic again, and I am picking him to win this fight. I think it's kind of crazy how the betting lines went from his Ledet fight where he was an underdog. I think I got him at plus 138 and was super confident when I seen that number. I was like, yep, I like this. I thought Ledet was getting too much steam. He should never have been the favourite over this guy, in my opinion. And he showed in that fight how much skills this guy got. From the very outset of that fight, nailed him with a leg kick and completely threw Ledet off his game and just beat him up in every facet of the game. Totally outstruck the boxer with beautiful combinations. Big dude, good footwork, good movement. Was never very stationary for Ledet to get off his jab. And he just hurt Ledet in that fight, got takedowns in that fight. I think he got 3 or 4 takedowns as well. So he was mixing it up. Really good prospect at 205. Fights Devin Clark. I think it's another good fight for Alexander Rakic. The way I see Devin Clark winning this fight is him going in there and probably putting him against the cage and look to, kind of what he did with Jan Blachowicz. And that's where I think he's going to want to. What he wants to do in this fight is put him against the cage, try and control him. But I think that Rakic is going to have... He's going to get the underhooks. He's going to pepper him with knees. I think he's going to be able to get the underhooks and turn him around and then disengage and then get into that striking battle where I think that he wins all day long. I think that Devin Clark can be hit. I think his chin is a little bit out there. To be hit, and against a guy who's bigger with a bigger reach, I think that he will find a way to knock him out. Honestly, I really do. I think if Alex Nicholson knocked him out, wins over Josh Stansbury, Jake Collier, Mike Rodriguez, they're really not wins to kind of ride home about. Let's be honest. This is a good fight for Alexander Rakic, I believe. I'm going to pick Alexander Rakic to win. I'll go, TKO, second round there. Moving on. Interesting bout to the prelims. Interesting start to the prelims, I should say. Olivier Auburn Mercier against Gilbert Dorino Burns. This was a fight initially I really liked when I heard it was announced. It was a fight that was supposed to take place earlier on in the year as well. And it's an interesting kind of clash of styles. I've always been a kind of admirer of Gilbert Burns because I knew him through the jiu-jitsu scene before that, and I heard he was getting into MMA. And I think he's a really good, well-rounded fight. I think his jiu-jitsu is always there, obviously. But I think his striking is coming on. He's got some fairly decent striking. The one thing that I think has always been a red flag with him is conditioning. Don't like his conditioning at all. I think that he can be peppered to the body. I think he can be worn down. I think he can be well. And that's something I think at Auburn Mercier is really good. And he's always kind of had it. And it's starting to become more of a facet of his game. Is his body kicks and his low kicks. Big, heavy ones. That can take away from Gilbert Burns, in my opinion. He's also coming off a loss. Auburn Mercier against Alexander Hernandez. I was surprised when Hernandez was an underdog in that fight because I think Hernandez has got a pretty high ceiling. But he's good wins. Like Tony Martin, he had another great win at the weekend. Evan Dunham's always tough. Knocked him out in the first. Drew Dober's never easy to fight. So, this is an interesting fight because you know that you have to mind your P's and Q's with Gilbert Burns, especially if it goes to the ground. Now, I think Mercier is good on the ground as well. But I don't think he's to the level of what Gilbert Burns is. I think Burns, when he needs to, when he can pull that submission out, he can do it. He did it way back against Alex Oliveira. But you look at his wins in the UFC, they're nothing. You look at the caliber of wins from both guys. Auburn Mercier is definitely better. I mean, Dan Moret, Jason Sago, Lucas Sajewski, Hiagos, Andreas Stahl. I mean, nothing to really ride home about at all. His losses are good losses, actually, to good fighters. Dan Hooker, Zares, and I forget the other one who it was, might have been Rashid. But still, I think this has the potential to be a close fight. But for me, I like more what I see from Auburn Mercier. I think he can outlast Gilbert Burns, wear him down to the body. But it's a close fight. I wouldn't if you wanted to take a shot on Gilbert Burns, I don't think it'd be the worst bet in the world. But I'm going to pick Auburn Mercier via decision. Middleweight division. Eryk Anders against Elias Theodorou. Elias Theodorou. I'll be honest, the only fight I watched of Elias was his last fight against Trevor Smith because I was in Liverpool, and it's always different watching back and watching at home. And I still think when I was sat in the crowd, I thought Trevor Smith won the fight, and it hasn't changed here. I think that I thought that Trevor Smith actually won that fight. Elias' game never changes. He's the absolute predominant point fighter as you'll ever get. Fights at distance, looks to kick, then kind of runs off. Not good to watch. Honestly, really not good to watch. And I think he's got an opponent here that I think he could frustrate a little bit. I do think he do that because Anders is like a bull. He heads straight at you. Now, if Elias can use that movement and pick his shots and keep Anders at bay, then I think that he has an opportunity here to maybe get another one of these decisions, which would be crazy. Because I don't rate Elias Theodorou at all, really. But the guy wins fights in the UFC. So what can I say, really? Eryk Anders, I think this is like his 5th fight in a year since coming into the UFC. The guy's been active. The guys came in short notice. He's fought tough guys. Rafael Natali came in there, knocked him out. Marcus Perez is awkward, went to decision there. Machida, he could have got the split down in Brazil. I still think when I watch that fight back, I think anywhere else in the world, he wins that fight, in my opinion. Didn't look good against Tim Williams. Possibly could have been the way to losing to Tim Williams. I don't think he was, but I've seen other people say he was. But he caught him with that absolutely smelly head kick and knocked him out, and then came in a week's notice against Santos down in Brazil. Mad props to that guy. Gave his all, landed some big shots, took some big shots. Looked bad at the end of that fight. That was only like 10 weeks ago, that fight in Brazil. He took a lot of damage, gassed bad. The end of that fight was pretty scary when you seen Eryk Anders there. But the guy's got himself in another fight, and that's something that I'm a little bit worried about, but not worried about because he is fighting Elias Theodorou, who's got really no power and is not going to engage. The engaged fighter in this one is going to be Eryk Anders, and I think eventually he starts to ping Elias Theodorou. He starts to wear him down, cut off the cage, starts to hit him with good shots. I'm not going to pick Elias Theodorou. His style is bad to watch. It's not good. But it's effective. He wins fights, so you can't diss the guy too much. For me, I want Eryk Anders to win. I think he will win. The lines came down in this one. I'm kind of interested in where the line's going to end up betting-wise. And it kind of tempts me a little bit because Elias' time has got to end soon, and I think that someone like Eryk Anders with the aggression that he shows could be the guy to stop that here. So I'm going to go Eryk Anders. He could win a decision. I'm going to go knockout, though. Eryk Anders via maybe a second, third round TKO of Elias Theodorou. Moving on. Sorry, guys, just going to get a little drink here. Katlyn Chookagian against Jessica Eye. Not a fight I'm overly looking forward to in a card of really good fights, but one nonetheless that is maybe has title implications going forward with Chookagian. Especially if she wins this fight. I think she maybe is the next girl in line, honestly. Jessica Eye, I was surprised the UFC kept her around after 4 or 5 losses. Now, some of her losses were to former champions, but also some of those losses were to like Betchko Hair. But the one thing I will say, since those losses, especially since that loss to Betch in her hometown, she's made improvements. I can definitely see at a natural weight class, by the way, against Kalindra Faria. Now, Faria's not the best fighter either, makes a lot of mistakes. She had opportunities in that fight where she hit her with head kicks and so on, and kind of pinged Jessica up a little bit, but she stayed in the fight, fought hard, and was rightfully won that fight. A split, I was a little bit unsure of. Then Jessica Rose Clark, I definitely seen improvements there because I think Jessica Rose Clark has made improvements as well and comes from a really good camp with a lot of good female fighters to train with. Yeah. What I liked about her in that fight is that she got takedowns. She kind of mixed it up and she timed her takedowns well and did what she had to do, because I did think that Jessica Rose Clark was going to be the aggressor in that fight, and she definitely was. But Jessica looked fluent on the feet, got the one takedown when she needed it, and just outstruck Jessica Rose Clark. I don't think she's going to be able to do that with Katlyn Chookagian, because she's the type of fighter that kind of hits at distance and moves and shouts at the same time, which is ridiculous. That the shouting really does my head in watching Chookagian fights. Even though I've got round to kind of muting it now, but I'll do that on Saturday. Is Jessica going to outstrike her? Possibility that could happen. I don't think it is. I think Chookagian, she will kind of fight at distance, hit, move. The Liz Carmouche fight, she was taken down like 4 times. Has Jessica got the strength of what a Liz Carmouche has? I don't see it. And predominantly, Katlyn Chookagian just outworks you on the feet, and that's what she's did the majority of her fights. She lands the kind of the more eye-catching strikes. Actually, I think Alexis Davis outstruck her, not by much, but she landed the kind of more eye-catching strikes and won the fight. I'm going to go Katlyn Chookagian. I think I said in one of my videos I would never pick Jessica in a UFC fight again, and be that to my detriment. She went out and won last time, but I like Chookagian to win a decision. If not a UD, a split decision there. But honestly, not one of the fights I'm looking forward to, but I've seen a few people bet on Chookagian, which I think is the right kind of play, but not for me. I'm not going to be going anywhere near that fight. And the main fight of the UFC 231 prelims, we have Claudia Gadelha, Nina Ansaroff. This kind of interested me as well because I was actually going to bet Claudia Gadelha. I was going to parlay her with, who was it? John Jones for UFC 232 because I thought it was around even money. I think they were both minus 250, so I was going to get close to even money. And then watch some Nina fights, and there's no denying she's made improvements. Now, she's made improvements against fighters not of the caliber of Claudia Gadelha. That's one of the things that jumped out straight away. Jocelyn Jones, Lieberger, Angela Hill, Randa Marcos, not high caliber fighters in that division compared to what Gadelha is, who's fought better girls, who's beat better girls, and has, I think, better skill sets on all those girls. What I do like is she's got obviously a lot of confidence with her wins recently. You can definitely see progression. She's got a lot of a fair share of output in her fights as well, which I like. As output fighters, it's always something I look for on DraftKings and so on. But she's mixing it in with like some takedowns, especially in the Quiche when she tried that. Quiche took her down a few times, but that was a loss. Completely outstruck Jocelyn Jones Lieberger with some nice leg kicks, just kind of beat her to the punch. Angela Hill, high output, a lot of striking acumen in that fight there, which I didn't see coming because I thought Angela Hill was the faster, better striker. Wasn't the Randa Marcos, just kind of really beat her up from the outside and won a UD. Claudia Gadelha, I think I'm not going to say she's taken a step back because she really hasn't. She's still winning fights. I thought that Esparza won that fight last time out. I still score that for Carla Esparza. Maybe the takedowns and the advancing positions was enough for Gadelha in that fight. It seemed to be because she definitely got outstripped by Carla. Carla's striking looked on point in that fight. And then that bludgeoning to Jess Kandraj was rough. Got taken down, got passed, got bludgeoned with all types of different strikes. Beat Carolina very, very quickly. I've seen some people actually betting Ansaroff, and I'm not sure about the line. Is it off? I don't think it's off actually because Gadelha has faced a better caliber of opposition, and she warrants that line. Come on, dog, you coming up? Can she get? What I like about this fight as well is that Nina has been in the gym, obviously with Amanda Nunes, who's a partner, Joanna and Jacek, who's fighting for a belt. So she's been getting ready and for people in massive, massive title fights, huge fights. And maybe that's what's happened because ever since Joanna came in, she's been training with her and that she's reeled off wins in this division. So I'm not counting Nina Ansaroff in the fight. I think she can make it a lot closer than what a lot of people think. But I think when I look at it, Claudia Gadelha is just a better fighter. So I'm going to pick Claudia Gadelha. I'm going to pick her to win via a decision in that one there. On to the main card, and I love the main card. I think it's a good main card, a good pay-per-view card. Starting off light heavyweight division, the poster boy against Maheta, Jimi Manuwa against Thiago Santos. And I would be surprised if the judges put in I think someone is definitely going to go down. And for me, the pick is going to be Thiago Santos. I thought Jimi Manuwa looked kind of old, slower in his last fight against Jan Blachowicz. Maybe that was due to Jan's progression, because he's definitely made progression in his last few fights, especially since Manuwa, I think, beat him a few years, but he got controlled against the cage. But Jan looked bigger, he looked faster, he looked more powerful, more diverse in his whole game. And I think Manuwa just looked kind of slow. And injuries are starting to take part with Manuwa as well. He went out to Brazil, got injured there. There was an injury before that as well. And I do think his chin is deteriorating a little bit. And he is against a guy in Santos who bangs. One thing I was thinking about this fight, I think if Thiago Santos wanted to get takedowns in this fight, and he showed that in the Kevin Holland fight, when I went back and watched, because he's long, he's languid, and he's just. I think Kevin Holland's going to be a good fighter, but he went into that fight, fought smart, got takedowns. I think he could have easily finished that fight. Easily finished that fight. I think he could have finished that fight, is what I should be saying. I mean, he got like 3 takedowns in that one, and he was passing fairly easy. His ground and pound was pretty decent in that one. So that's when I'm kind of going, maybe Holland just showed a bit of toughness there. Then in the Eryk Anders fight, he got taken down quite a lot. I think Anders got like 4 or 5 takedowns, managed to get back to his feet, but he was peppering him with strikes. He was hitting some big strikes in Eryk Anders, and the durability of Eryk Anders went towards the end of that 3rd round, and then that's how he got the stoppage. I think he'll find a way to find Manuwa's chin. Manuwa's like coming on to his 40s now, I want to say. So that's still old for that division. I'm not saying that Maheta's a young guy, because I don't think he is. I think he's in his mid-30s. Yeah, a quick turnaround for Maheta here. In fact, that's 3 fights in 6 months. That's quite a lot. It's a bet on Manuwa kind of warranted. I don't know. I don't think I could bet on Jimi. I wish him all the best, because Jimmy's a cool dude. But Thiago Santos, for me, I think he's got a little bit more speed. He's got the power there to contend with Manuwa. I think Manuwa's got some serious power as well. I think he's got a kicking game, which I think can be devastating if used properly. And I do think he can get takedowns in Jimi Manuwa. So do I see him winning by decision or knockout? I'll go knockout. Why not? I'll go knockout from Maheta Santos. I'll go 1st round, actually. I'll take a shot on 1st round knockout. Moving on, Hakeem Dawodu against Kyle Bochniak. This is a good addition to the main card after Hanato Moicano got pulled from the card because nobody really wanted to face him. They couldn't get a fight for him. But this is the good one, I think, to add to the main card. I think this could be an all-action kind of fight with 2 guys who... with Dawodu, I think he's an athletic specimen. I think he showed that last time out against Austin Arnett. I still think he looked nervy in there, though. I still think there's more to show from this guy. I think it was a big shock he's lost in his UFC debut to Danny Henry in 40 seconds where he got subbed, he went to sleep, got hit with a shot and then got submitted. But then in the second fight in the UFC, he saw what he's all about. Really good hand speed, good combinations, good footwork, picked his shots properly, and just outworked the lesser fighter, which was Austin Arnett, and completely outstruck him in that fight. But he did take a few licks towards that 3rd round from Austin Arnett, which were a little bit eye-opening, because we all know what Kyle Bochniak is. The guy's a dog. He's a gamer, complete gamer. And I think, I can't remember the odds on him, but I don't think a bet on Kyle Bochniak is that bad a bet. Honestly, I know there's a few people I'm friendly with who have made a bet on Bochniak, and like I say, I don't think it's a bad bet. For me, I just like Kyle. I like Hakeem just a little bit more right now, honestly, but it's like 55-45 in my opinion. I think that Bochniak is a very live fighter. He's a guy I'll be looking to in DraftKings for the simple reason that he's always in the fight. But when you look at all of his fights, and you look at, like, I'm not really a stat guy, but I always look at output. Output's always a big thing for me. Accuracy is another thing for me. And all of his UFC fights, he's been outstruck in every one of his fights. I think the Barzola one, he got lucky with the decision there. The Davis one, I think, was the right decision. Definitely the right decision. He got takedown, mixed up well, did what he had to do to win that fight. And then the Zabit fight, that dude was crazy in that fight. Got taken down a lot, got outstruck a lot. But in that 3rd round, he was just not willing to back down to Zabit, and that was some serious cojones from Bochniak in that fight. I just think Hakeem's a little bit too good with his striking. I think he's going to be the faster guy to the punch. I think that he will mix up. I think he'll be a lot faster than what Bochniak is. But I am not ruling Bochniak out of this fight. I'm picking Hakeem Dawodu to win via decision. But honestly, he's going on my not less confident list, because I think that Kyle Bochniak is a very, very live fighter in this one. But I think when you look at both fighters, Hakeem is a guy with more levels. I think he can go up eventually. Not yet, but it could definitely happen. Hakeem Dawodu, I'm going to pick him via decision, maybe even a split in this one. But honestly, you want to bet Kyle Bochniak? I don't think it's the worst bet on this card at all. So, yeah. Moving on to, where are we at? Gunnar Nelson. Alex Oliveira against Gunnar Nelson. Ooh, this is a good fight. This is a good fight. Apologies again. Now, if you've been around with me for the last 6 years, you will know that I am a Gunnar Nelson fan, and I have been for a long time. I like buying his shirts from over there in Iceland. I like his fighting style. He's a guy that when I know he's on a card, I'm always looking forward to watching him fight because he's different. He's got that karate stand-up with the deadly jiu-jitsu that he's got. Not a guy with, like I was going on before, like I like outputting fighters. Gunny's not that type of fighter where there's a lot of output that comes from him because there's not, like, you look at his fights and his stats in some of those fights, there's just not a lot of output there. But the guy is deadly when he gets it going. I think his striking's really, really good. He showed that in the fights with Brandon Thatch back in the day. That combination that he dropped him to get the submission in the first round was crazy. But he only landed a few strikes in that one prior to that. Really didn't do much against Damian Maia, and that was the fight I thought he would have did very well in, but Damian showed he was just the best there. On the ground, on the mat, and just dominated him down there. The Albert Tumenov fight, I was so surprised when he was the underdog in that one because, to be fair, at that time, Tumenov was a destroyer back in mid-2016. Very hyped up guy out of Russia, was stopping everybody with brutal strikes. And then Gunnar came out there, hurt him on the feet, got him to the ground, submitted him. Alan Jouban got outstruck a little bit there, but landed some big shots on Jouban. Got the submission there, and then obviously had the fight with Ponzinibbio where he got knocked out. There was the whole thing with eye pokes, but still, I still think he was in for a tough fight in that one there. Had a couple of injuries since, and he actually released a picture at the weekend where he was jacked, and the last time we seen that was against Tumenov, which I think is one of his best performances in the UFC. So yeah, he is a fighter I'm a super big fan of. I love his fighting style. I love his ground game. But I can't agree with where the betting line is in this one. -160 against Cowboy Oliveira. I don't know whether it's people looking at that picture and making too much of it, because I don't think this fight should be like that. I think this fight should be a pick'em, in my opinion. I think Oliveira is one of the most dangerous guys, and one of the, say, like if I was to get an opportunity, like if I got the contract down to fight Cowboy Oliveira, I don't think I would like it one little bit, because the guy is just tough to fight. We seen last time out, he absolutely starched Carlo Pedosol. He hit him with a big strike, knocked him out in the first 40 seconds. Carlos Condit stopped him there. That was a big win to have in your resume. Took him down. The one thing I will say in that fight, and there is a couple of fights out there if you watch, because he's had a load of fights in the last 3-4 years. Carlos Condit took his back. If that was someone who's a better jiu-jitsu player, I think he would have stopped him. But inevitably, he got the submission, he got the guillotine choke there, nasty choke. The one, if you look through his UFC career, though, a couple of ones stick out. Donald Cerrone, triangle choke. The Gilbert Burns fight, he was winning decisively and then got caught in an armbar. And I still think that Gunnar Nelson is better than those guys, or, well, maybe not better. I think Gilbert Burns is pretty high up there. And Donald Cerrone off his back is crazy good as well. So he's lost to submission a couple of times. Obviously, there was the Tim Means no contest. There was the Yancey stoppage where he lost in one of the best fights of the year, where he put down Yancey a couple of times. He got put down. Crazy fight to go back to watch. One I always enjoy watching. But I think that he's dangerous with his striking. I think he's got that. I don't want to say he's a power striker, but I think he's just, his body, he's a big dude. He hits kind of hard, and it's underestimated, like underestimating power that I think that people don't realise that he has. But I think in the clinch he's super deadly. I listened to the Gunnar Nelson interview with Ariel Helwani earlier on, where he's saying that he's doing like lifting, weightlifting. He feels as strong as ever, and this is the guy that can take you down as well. I don't know whether I think Oliveira is a tough guy to face, especially coming off a year and a half off, and just rugged and just a hard fighter to face. Now, if this gets to the ground, I do think that Oliveira could be in trouble because I rate Gunny's ground game super highly. But I'm going to pick Alex Oliveira in this one. I think that if he can keep it standing, get into the clinch, rough him up a little bit, I think he could put Gunny off his game plan a little bit. And it's tough picking against a fighter I'm super high on. But sometimes with picks, and especially with bets, and I am kind of thinking about maybe betting Alex Oliveira. I just think people are not disrespecting him a little bit. Just I think they're disrespecting his skills and how hard he is a fighter to face. And Gunnar Nelson is just, when he shows up, he looks great. But sometimes when he doesn't, I mean, the Rick Story fight, he never showed up. I am going back 3 years ago in that fight. So yeah, but he's been out with injury. Tough fight to come back to. I'm going to pick Alex Oliveira to win a decision in this one here. Obviously, I hope Gunnar wins, but I think Alex has got a fairly high chance to win this fight, honestly. Co-main event of the evening, we have the Bullet, Valentina and Jacek, the former strawweight queen, as they fight for the vacant UFC 125-pound women's flyweight championship of the world. Great fight. It was really, it's actually two of my favourite female fighters to go back and watch for different reasons. Joanna, output, I'm going on about it again, but output is something I love, and she does it in abundance. Valentina, so good, so disciplined with her striking, mixes it up well, strong in many areas of the game, and looking like she's a champion, let's be honest. But I think there's a lot of disrespect being thrown out for Joanna and Jacek here. I think the betting line's disrespectful. I think people, the way they're talking about it, is a little bit disrespectful. But that's just the way some people have to do things. They have to disrespect fighters who they don't think can win fights and so on. And I'm not for that. But yeah, initially, the last few weeks, I've been watching some fights here and there. I was actually on Joanna. I thought I was going to take the shot on Joanna. As the last weeks came in, I've kind of switched up a little bit and started to look into just the skill set that what Shevchenko has, and how she can maybe grab a hold of Jacek, get takedowns. She could find the chin, Joanna. Now, Joanna's shown that she can be hit and be put down. She's obviously facing the bigger girl here in Valentina. But Valentina's really good striking, really patient striker, picks her shots very well. Like I was saying, good takedowns, and she has submission skills, very strong in many aspects of the game. The one thing here that I think people are forgetting is, like, Joanna has a path to victory here. I really do. I think her output is huge in fights. She throws a lot of strikes. She lands a lot of strikes, especially against someone like Valentina, who doesn't throw near as much as what Joanna does, and especially what Joanna lands. It's there's going to be close rounds in this fight where I think that Joanna could get the strikes there. I think she will definitely be the faster fighter. Like, Joanna lands at 6.44 per minute. It's only 3.31 for Valentina. So that's nearly double the amount of strikes that she's landing per minute. And she's got a bigger target here with Valentina, and her being quicker as well. Her accuracy is pretty much, I think her accuracy is pretty similar between them. But I think that Joanna is one of those people, she'll throw a lot of strikes. Not a lot lands and not a lot really hurts, where I think that the strikes that Valentina throws are better strikes. They mean more. And I think she can obviously get takedowns. I think the Joanna's got good striking defense as well, but she In saying that, if you catch her chin properly, I think you can put her down. Now, she's moving up to a new division, and I think that will help her chin, but I still think her chin is there to be hit. I think she can be put down, especially against Valentina, who's an awkward southpaw to fight against as well. And I think you have to mention this. These two have fought 3 times before. I know it was in Muay Thai, but Valentina won all those 3 fights, and that's still. And people are writing that off like, oh, it's a different time, different sports they're doing, and it's more things that could happen, and that's true. But I grew up playing golf, and when I loved match play against 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. I knew that if I beat you once, I could beat you again, and they knew that I could beat you as well. And I was always into that kind of mental kind of warfare of I can beat you and you can't beat me. And that was not true because I was beat by people I beat before. But I always knew I had an advantage of I know I can beat you. And it's the same when I used to go to different counties or different places to play different players, and I played them a few times and never lost. I knew I had that advantage on the first tee that I could beat them. It's the exact same here. But on any day, you could be beat by that person. I was on Joanna originally. I've changed over to Valentina here. I think she wins maybe a 48-47, 49-46 decision. I think that the strikes she lands will be more meaningful. But I really do think Joanna's not a bad bet. I think her line's off. I think it's nearing minus plus 300. A small bet on that is not bad to get some decent output back. But yeah, I am a Joanna fan as well. I will say I'm a fan of both girls, but I do like Joanna. I've been a fan of her for a while. I'm going to go Valentina Shevchenko just by decision. Great fight. And talking of great fights, ooh, my God, this fight just needs to get there. I don't care if you wrap them up in cotton wool, they make the weight, whatever. Just get them to Saturday night because I want to see this fight. 2 guys, middle 20s, just after the middle 20s, 26, 27 years old. Incredible fighters. And it's 2 of the best guys in the division. You've got the champion, the dominant champion, against the young upstarter who's coming through, who honestly has surprised me. I don't want to say surprised. I went back and looked at my record of picking Brian Ortega, and I think it's 7 fights. I picked him his first 4 fights correctly. I really liked him. When he started to get that step up in opponent, I thought, right, this kid's going to get found out a little bit. And I thought, yeah, he's obviously got some game. You've seen that. I loved the Thiago Tavares fight. I thought it was a really, really great fight. Won by TKO in the 4th round. The Diego Brandao one pulled out a submission in the 3rd. Clay Guida pulled out a knockout with his knee in the 3rd. And then the one fight which really impresses me, and I still watch it, I thought he was on his way to lose. I bet Moicano in that fight as well. I thought Moicano fought a great fight, totally outstruck him, totally banged him up a little bit in that fight, got some takedowns, fought super smart. And saying that, he tried the same thing in the 3rd round, and he gave him the slightest opportunity to get a hold of his neck, and within inside a couple of seconds, that guy was tapping for his life. Like, Brian Ortega is one mean. I'm not the biggest fan of Swin, but he's one mean mother. That guy is one, seriously, a mean motherfucker. He's just such a dangerous guy in every aspect of a fight. You cannot count that guy out at any aspect, and it shows you with his 4 fights that he won, all in the 4th round, 3rd round, sorry. He could have easily lost a couple of those fights. The Clay Guida one, I think he could have went to Clay Guida. Moicano was on his way to winning that fight, in my opinion. And then we go kind of, if we're moving on, you move into the Cub Swanson fight, where I thought Cub Swanson started off well, hit him with some good strikes. I thought Ortega actually hit him with some good strikes. But then they get into a clinch battle, get into a clinch for just a short second, and then you see the power and the strength of Brian Ortega, getting him to the ground, and inside like that, he's locked up a submission. Cub Swanson is grabbing for anything. His face is like, what is going on here? This guy's got a serious choke on him, saved by the bell, gets into the second round. Once Brian Ortega gets a sniff that he can finish this guy, he's got him in a guillotine, readjusts. The guy readjusts his hands, gets the choke. Edgar, I'm thinking this is a big step up. Frankie is one of the best ever. Starches the dude. Starches the dude in the first round with an absolutely humongous uppercut. Stops Frankie Edgar. One of the only guys, I think he's the only guy to ever do it, yeah. And then he's here waiting for Max Holloway that we're supposed to fight in the summer. Moving on to Max Holloway. My biggest thing here, and it has to be said, is how is Max Holloway, how is his health? Because there was a lot of things come out. He was going to be out for a year. He tried to come in short notice against Khabib. The commission pulled him. Then there was obviously what happened in July where Michael Bisping was interviewing him, and you could tell there was something wrong. It was like a horrible interview to go back and watch. And there's talks of concussion, him getting hard sparring and so on in that fight. On the run up to that fight, there was talks of him having a stroke, which for a 26-year-old guy is it's scary. So I'm keeping a close eye on how this fight week goes through, how he looks, how he sounds. Now, everything beforehand, that he had interviews in Toronto last week where he looked great, sounded great. He definitely sounded different to what he did back in the summer. But he probably hasn't started the hard part of the weight cut yet. That's what you've got to have to keep an eye on. If he makes weight and looks healthy, looks good, and he fights the way I know he can fight, I think he can beat Brian Ortega. I think he can fight at distance. He can. I think he's the faster guy with his hands. I think he can add kicks. But I definitely just think there's a game there. I just think that he can. It's hard though, because I really like Max Holloway, but I just want to see what his health is. That's a big thing. And I said this to a few guys. I was like, what is his health? If he show, it's just tough. Honestly, the better overall fighter is Max Holloway. But in saying that, am I disrespecting Ortega in saying that? Because Ortega's shown every fight that he's made improvements. Even though he was maybe in some of those fights losing, you can definitely see little things that he's improved on. His coach, I can't remember his name, James something, has made such improvements with his boxing. It's crazy. And he's just such a dangerous fighter. But how I see Max, I'm picking Max Holloway to win the fight, by the way. I'm picking him to win via a decision. But I think he's going to have some moments in this fight where he's going to have to show the heart of a champion, and he's going to have to overcome adversity a little bit. But I'm not going to write off Brian Ortega. Never. There's a reason this line is -120 Holloway, -105, +105 Brian Ortega, because everybody knows this is a close fight. I'm seeing people saying Ortega's going to smoke this guy. I'm seeing people saying Holloway's going to smoke this guy. Could happen. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't see it. I think both guys are going to have chances to win this fight, obviously. But I think they're going to be moments where they're both going to overcome adversity. That's what I'm trying to say. Because Ortega is so dangerous in so many aspects of the game now. I would be super worried, as would anybody, if you go to the ground with Brian Ortega and he gets the opportunity to get an arm, a neck especially. The guy's got some serious jits. And I've actually turned into a massive fan of Brian Ortega. Just that he seems such a nice kid. Fights for his family, like everybody else does, obviously. But he just seems a really nice. He's a guy I really want to meet as a fight fan. I met Max Holloway, super cool dude. What we expect from a Hawaiian, plus Hawaii versus Mexico, it's just made to have an absolute banger of a fight. I cannot wait for this fight. I want to bet Max Holloway, and I think you get close to dog money by fight time, possibly. I think it's going to be close to a pick'em. He might be the dog. I'd be surprised if he is, but I want to bet Max Holloway pretty badly. But I think it might be one of those fights where you have to stay away because anything could really happen. But like I say with Max Holloway, every fight, you look at the resume the guy's got as well. He's fought the best guy. He's one of the best featherweight champions all time. Only 27 years old, by the way. I think I really want to see him move up to 155. I think it's time for him to move up after this fight, win or lose. And I say this about Max every time. What I like about him round through round, he can pick up the pace. He can pick up the output. He can change it around a little bit, makes adjustments in the rounds. I absolutely love fighters like that. Max Holloway, for me, is one of the best fighters to watch overall, with the way he makes adjustments and his hand speed, his combinations, his footwork, his lineal kind of movement where he just shifts a little bit and he puts you off, and he can get you in target and hit you. It's just it's such a great fight. I'm picking Max Holloway to win via decision. I think he has some parts of this fight which are going to be really tough, and he has to come through some adversity. I think he can do it, though. Hope he has a good weight cut. Hope Ortega has a good weight cut. And I just want to see a scrap here. I really am looking forward to it. I think outside of Conor Khabib, which we knew was going to be big, this is they were the biggest fight of the year. Just with the skill sets both guys have. Two guys in their mid-20s, not even in their prime yet, I don't think. Crazy fight. Max Holloway via decision is my pick there. And that's me for UFC 231. We're back next week for UFC Milwaukee, the last ever Fox card. Kevin Lee, Ali Quinta. Thank you for watching. Hope you can give me a like, a thumbs up. Leave your comments below, your bets. If you disagree with any of my picks, if you can help me with donations to animal charities, that would be greatly appreciated. Until next week, take care and enjoy this fight card with this main event this weekend. All the best.